welcome back to Wake Up and Live with the Arts. I'm James McGilvray, along with videographer Lester Bryant Sr. And of course, we're holding the fort down for Sue Johnson, who has had some injuries and dealing with some health issues, but she's on her way back, and so we want to have our prayers and thoughts for her. Come back soon, Sue, and we miss you. We just had a wonderful conversation with Roy Richardson, Tuskegee Airman. Well, this is a bit of an unplanned segment because I kind of had to ask for a little cooperation from someone else who's going to be on this show, and she agreed. That person is Roy Richardson's daughter, and that's Stacy Richardson Crawford, and one of the most amazing talents that we wonder, why haven't we had you on this show before? Stacy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I found out about you in terms of some of your talents when I was doing research preparing for the discussion with Roy.
Okay.
And of course you were at the play when we did commemorative at the Karamu Theater.
Yeah.
And of course you were at the taping when we had Roy and my sister on.
Right.
And so you did a tribute basically to your family. In fact, this is just a little bit, and I'll read just briefly from it. And it was to Reverend Dr. John Thomas Whedon. And you mentioned you began with, my name is Stacy Richardson Crawford, the daughter of Sarah Elizabeth Whedon Richardson of Cleveland. That was where it was like, oh my goodness, I need to know more about her. And so your mother was obviously an amazing person. That side of the family has some amazing talent. And you are a performing artist as well.
Right.
Give us a little bit of a background in terms of performing arts. I know that you did some background singing initially and then went on to other things. So tell us a little bit about your performing arts history.
Well, I started singing around 4-ish. I would sing at church and open my grandfather's sermons, and I never knew to be afraid or anything like that. They just put me on a chair and said sing, and I've been doing it ever since.
Well, now, why was there so much singing? Is it this Whedon family?
Well, my entire family sings. There's about 50 of us, at least, in my family choir. Between Cleveland, Indianapolis, Tennessee, all of us sing. All of us, or most of us, play instruments, and we recorded an album in 1985. Mm-hmm. And
what was the title of that album?
Victory Shall Be Mine. And my husband just happened to be the person who wrote the single on the album. So. And
in fact, your husband used to work right here at the Rainey Institute.
Exactly.
And so there's a tie there.
Right.
You know, we're all grateful for this fine institution.
Yes.
Rainey Institute makes a difference in the lives of a lot of people, yes. And we're honored to be here.
Yes.
And so I went online and I listened to the music,
okay.
And some of the gospel and all of this. And Roy, you must be awfully proud of your little girl, huh?
Yes, all my family.
Yeah.
Well, now, you did all kinds of background singing for different people. I mean, I looked at some of the things that you've done, and I mean, major TV shows. And what would you say is one of the big highlights for you in terms of your performing history?
I was asked to sing with Paul Schaefer.
Yes.
When I did the Letterman show years ago, and he's been using me pretty much ever since for the Rock Hall induction ceremony. So because of that, I've been able to sing background for a lot of living legends and legends that have now gone on. Yeah, I started singing background on the road with Gerald Levert. Mm-hmm. And I was with him for about 4 years. And then I started singing with Anthony Hamilton, and I was with him about 6 years. And right when I was thinking about leaving Anthony is when Paul asked me to start singing with him. So started singing with him. And this year was the first year I didn't sing background for the induction ceremonies because nobody had singers. None of the inductees, most of them didn't have singers. So
Okay.
they were bands and solo artists. So hopefully in the next couple of years I'll be back again.
Well, speaking of solo artists, you later went on to release your own
Yes.
album. Tell us a little bit about this. Tell us the title, because listen, if you haven't heard this album, get online as soon as you finish watching this and listen to some of these cuts. Tell us, what was the title of that? The album?
Title of the album is All About Me, because it's kind of a life story-ish of stories that I wrote about myself as well as friends and family. And one of the songs on there that was my single is called Tonight.
Yes.
Tonight ended up going number 4 in Europe, so
that
was
is
great.
a funky, wonderful number. I was going to
Yeah,
mention that
yeah.
because that just, the beat is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, if you listen to that particular song, to Tonight, you'll be listening to Stacy Crawford all night, believe me. I listen to, you do some jazz as well.
I do a lot of jazz. I sing a lot of jazz. And luckily, we have a platform here because of Mark Ribbons, because he's on the Wave. And he really promotes a lot of the local talent. And he's been playing me now since 2011 in pretty heavy rotation between the song Tonight and Sarah Smile.
Yes.
I did Sarah Smile in honor of my mom.
That was in honor of your mom.
Yeah.
And tell me why this was important to me, to you. Tell everyone a little bit about your mom.
My mom was also a musician here in Cleveland. She's played the piano at a lot of different churches. She was the minority outreach director at Willoughby Fine Arts, and so she retired from there. And since then, they have a scholarship program in her name. So they award a scholarship every year, or a couple times a year, to minority students in Lake County, so that they're able to attend the school and be able to further, you know, their talent and their performance by being trained by professionals. So luckily that is still going strong. Every year they have a big event. Well, now they're doing it twice a year, and it's a really good platform for up and coming artists to be able to go to school and have a scholarship.
Well, so Roy, obviously you had amazing taste in terms of a wonderful wife. Tell us a memory about your wife that if you were going to share anything about her and let people know what she meant to you.
Well, if my wife had lived, we'd have been married 61 years. And I thought that she would outlive me. And I made provisions for that. But it just didn't work out the way that I thought it would. So I had a very good life, and I'm with her too. And I kind of miss her.
I know that's right. No, not just kind of, I know. But
They were together, I think she was 15 and he was 20.
Nice. It's been a long time. How long ago did she pass, if I may ask?
2007.
2007.
Or was it 2006? Six.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the song, Sarah Smile, of course, that was a bit of a cover of the Hall & Oates
Right.
Song. And clearly you and she have an amazing legacy here in Stacy. Are you performing these days currently?
Oh, yeah.
Well, tell us about upcoming performances. If members in our audience would like to see you perform, where could they come to see that happen?
I sing with Hub's Groove a lot.
Yes.
A lot. And
In
I also
fact,
sing
I heard At Last, the jazz classic that you sang with them.
And I also sing with other bands around Cleveland. I'm working on my newest project now, which I will probably have a summer release. And I've been doing a lot of things out of town as well. And Mother's Day, I'll be at Take 5 downtown,
Nice.
5:30 if anybody's interested.
Take 5, Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And do you have a website or
I am
Facebook
working on
page,
a
something
new
that-
website now.
Okay.
So I also have a women's group in Cleveland now of all female musicians and singers. It started off with just maybe, I thought it was going to be 20 or 30 people, and we have at least 200 people participating now. So it's a good networking for all of the women here who are in the business, so we can fellowship and support each other.
Well, in fact, if someone wanted to get in touch with you then about the women's group or about performances, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yep,
And
Sarah's Girl on Facebook.
Sarah's Girl on Facebook to
Yes.
see Stacy Richardson Crawford, an amazing talent, a daughter of an amazing man
Yeah.
and woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a distinct pleasure to
Thank
have
you.
you on the show. Thank you for
Thank
agreeing
you.
to come on and do this, and
Sure.
hopefully we can showcase some of what you do at some point in the future.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Well, with that, we're going to go to one more segment on the show, and I want to thank Stacy Richardson Crawford and Roy Richardson for being on the show. You'll hear much more about them in the future. Stay with us on Wake Up and Live with the Arts. We'll be right back.